Okay, the global stock markets are taking a massive beating. That's because Donald Trump is at it again. I mean, every day we're talking about a new thing that he has done. Now, remember how he had proposed shocking tariffs against China, Mexico, and Canada. Those tariffs come into effect today. The American markets are calling it Tariff Tuesday because this is something that everyone hoped would be avoided, but it turns out it has not been avoided. And Trump has confirmed that it will kick in starting today, and that's what the markets are, reacting to. And I'll take you through those markets, and I'll share my screen in a second. But just to remind you what a tariff is. Now, a tariff is a tax that a country puts on any product coming in from another country. So anything that is being imported. Now, between Canada and Mexico, US is upstairs and downstairs neighbors. All the products that come in are tariff free because of an agreement that was signed by, guess who? Donald Trump in his previous term. And this was called the US Mexico Canada Trade Agreement, in which it's a tariff-free trade between these three countries, and there are a lot of products that go back and forth. I mean, a lot of all of Americans' avocados, for example, comes from Mexico. All their cars components are either manufactured from Canada or from Mexico and then assembled in the US. There are multiple products, and I'll take you through the products as well. But effectively, a lot of the economists are questioning, and I'm using the word skeptical questioning mildly here, the thought process behind doing this, because it will make products across the shelves in America expensive overnight. And effectively, it will be the people of America who will have to pay for these tariffs, not the foreign countries. And Trump's aim is that foreign countries will eventually start making their products cheaper in order to compete. But before that happens, the American customer will suffer because when the product comes in, they will have to pay for it. Plus, what will happen is fewer products will come in, which means there will be a shortage on the shelves, and then prices will go up even further. So a lot of people are asking about what the thought process is and if there is a thought process at all. But all of this is happening live right now. And so I want to be able to show you what's going on. So I'm going to share screen and attempt to take you through what's going on. But before we get to the responses right now, this is Forbes, that China, Canada, and Mexico are retaliating. I just want to take a look at the markets. And there you see the global indices not looking good at this point. So this is the S&P 500 is down, so is the NASDAQ. The FTSE has had a really terrible day. The Nikkei is down, the Hang Seng's down, Shanghai actually improved a little bit. And also our market was down. I'll just show you the FTSE. This is London. And you'll see that's the point where it started reacting around midday, where it started reacting to the possibility of what's going to happen in America. Other stock markets, this is the Asian market that I'm showing you. Again, you'll see Hang Seng is Hong Kong, that one was down. And right here is the BSE, second last, which is the Indian stock market, which had quite a terrible day as well. Just looking to see if we have a clearer update from the American markets. And I'm looking at the Reuters website. There's the Dow Jones. I think it's open for this morning. And we're going to come back and check that. But I just want to take you through what's happening right now. So basically what has happened is Canada, China and Mexico are retaliating to Trump's tariff, and here's how they're retaliating in quick points. So, for the 20% tariff on Chinese goods, Beijing has announced a 10 to 15% tariff on American goods, on agriculture and food products. Specifically, China's finance ministry has said chicken, wheat, corn, cotton, pork, beef, aquatic products, fruit, vegetables. So American agriculture basically will get taxed by an extra 10% if it's coming into China. In a separate announcement, China's Ministry of Commerce has said that it will expand its export controls on dual-use items. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has said his country will respond with a 25% retaliatory tariff on everything that's coming from America, and they will phase that out over the next 21 days and bring that in. The Mexican president, Claudia Sheinbaum, has said, and this is interesting, okay, this is this paragraph here. She responded on Monday, and she said that they will respond, that there is a need for composure, serenity, and patience. And her country has in place a plan B, a plan A, a plan B, a plan C, and a plan D. I think this is what happens when you put a woman in charge. So also what Mexico is doing, it's running a campaign for Make in Mexico, sort of on the lines of Make in India, but they're encouraging their businesses to actually make their own products and to stop using American products. There are Mexican hashtags trending right now on social media telling people to boycott American products altogether, and they're sharing the names of Mexican products that they're encouraging their countrymen to use. So it's actually Trump's entire response to Mexico since he came into power has resulted in a surge of nationalism and patriotism in Mexico. And their president, Ms. Sheinbaum, has become the sort of poster person for this newfound patriotism in Mexico. It's very interesting. I want to show you what I thought was a really interesting chart that I saw on the Al Jazeera website. Okay, this actually points out, sorry, there it is. It points out the trade partners of the United States, and you can see on top the first three are Mexico, Canada, and China. Mexico and Canada being the largest trade partners, and there's a like you can see altogether bilateral trade with Mexico is worth $840 billion, and in Canada it's worth $762 billion, and this is as of 2024. And the third one is China, although in China's case you will see there is a massive, the US is importing nearly 3x or 4x what it is exporting to China. All the way down here is India. Substantial for us, not so substantial for the US, but still the rest of the world is sort of on edge with what is happening at this point, saying, okay, now these are the three biggest bilateral trade partners for the US, and this is what they're doing. So what are they going to do to the rest of us? There's an interesting sort of chart as to what happens to a product when you increase tariff. Assuming in this example that there's a pair of jeans coming in from China to the US for $10, with a 10% tariff, it becomes $11 plus expenses and profit. It should ideally be $19 on the shelf. It becomes $20 because of the tariff, and that is something that the US customer is going to have to pay. And that is really the big problem here, because remember, one of the things that Donald Trump promised when he was running his campaign was to bring down inflation, and he will, for absolutely no reason but his own actions, be increasing inflation sharply when he does this. This is actually there was an American free trade agreement that was replaced by an agreement by Donald Trump, which was the US-Mexico-Canada agreement, in which all products move back and forth without any tariff. I also wanted to show you one more interesting. So this is another chart I wanted to show you, and this one we're reading off the NBCnews.com page. Here you can see, US imports. So basically imports coming into the US. Mexico is the biggest one, then China, then Canada, then the rest of them all down the line. India is at that bottom of that chart. This is import volumes. Again, in volumes, China is the largest. As you can see, there's Canada and Mexico there as well. 5 top goods imported into the US worldwide. So machinery products, electronics, automotive products, energy products, pharmaceutical products, these are all going to become expensive when these tariffs come in. And the colored portions are going to become expensive because these are the portions that are, for where the tariffs have been increased. Here, pharmaceutical products, the gray bit that we are looking at here, the other country, we are among the other country that exports a lot of pharmaceutical products to the US. And thankfully, they haven't announced any tariffs for us yet. That's also because our government has been very proactive. They've cut tariffs on American products already. We've had 2 conversations. The Prime Minister's made a trip. We understand that Piyush Goyal, who is the Minister for Commerce, has already been to America and back I think he's there. He just went there yesterday. So that's the conversation that's still happening. This is an interesting chart as well. Basically, federal revenue, how individual income taxes as the largest source of revenue for America's exchequer. So really, where this sort of tariff, where does he expect it to to contribute in terms of customs to their revenue? One is not sure. What all of this is leading to, like I said, is a further bloodbath in the market. And I keep looking at the market because the American markets have only just opened as we speak. Um, and as you can see, this is the 1 day on the DAX, and it's it's likely to, to get worse. The treasury yields are also coming down. The other thing that has taken a beating, I must show you, is the dollar. The dollar has weakened because there is fear that all of this is going to lead to some sort of recession in the US market. And, there is a greenback index that is used to track the strength of the dollar against a basket of everybody else's currency. It dropped about 0.44% today. And the weakness is expected because this will not leave too much room for the Federal Reserve, for the US Fed, to cut interest rates this year. And so the dollar is also not looking great. I just want to see what the latest updates are, if any. See, the Royal Bank of Canada has warned of a trade war with the US and the possibility that it will hit, it will hit growth. US financial stocks are sliding in early trade. The S&P 500 banking index is down by 3.4%. Goldman Sachs is down by 4.5%. JP Morgan, American Express, all losing about 3 to 4.5%. So everyone is expecting that the trade war will hurt American businesses and will lead to more, bad debt. Wall Street is dropping in early trade. So it's not looking good. And if Wall Street does badly, I mean, simply based on, the cues, the Indian market will have a tough day tomorrow as well, because our opening is normally on global cues. Most US retailers are warning that Americans will have to pay more. Mexico's president is condemning that as well. And US markets are sliding deeper and deeper into the red. So all of it is looking pretty grim at this point. I just want to leave you with one last story. I beg your pardon. This is Warren Buffett, who has actually said that this is an act of war. And he said the tooth fairy is not going to come and pay this tariff. The people are going to have to pay it. So Donald Trump is going to have to relook maybe at what he's doing.